Okay, so this is probably our most important CSS lesson, or one of the most important. We're going to talk about the box model, and the box model controls how big elements are and the padding around them for the most part. So I've got a really simple HTML page here. It's just got a paragraph on it for demonstration purposes. Now, we've talked about the inspector, so I'm going to inspect this element, and it doesn't have any styles attached to it right now, so I'm going to write a quick rule that just targets that P. Okay, so in inspector, when I hover over an element, it shows me in blue where that element is, and then you'll see this also has yellow around it. So if you click layout here, come down to box model, this gives me information about the space that that element is taking up. Okay, so the element itself, the box that it's in, takes up the full width of the page, and it's however tall it needs to be for the content. Okay, the yellow is margin, okay, that's applied by default to paragraphs. Margin and padding are both space around the element, okay? So let's take a bit of a look. So I say paragraphs are going to have padding equal to 100 pixels, okay? So if I click here, or if I hover over paragraph now, I'm seeing in purple, that's where my padding is. So it's bumped that content 100 pixels on each side, okay? And I can also add margin. So let's say margin is going to be 60 pixels. And if I come back and hover, you'll see that the yellow is 60 pixels on each side, okay? So it's controlling how far apart this box is from other boxes. So what's the difference between padding and margin? There are two differences. First, if I set a background color on this element, so I'm going to set the background color to a very, very light gray. The background color, you'll see, only extends to the padding. Okay, so this lets me put a background on something and also bump it away from another element. Okay, so that's one way that padding and margin are different. The other difference is if I put a border on this, and I'm going to use the shorthand, which is how wide the border should be and the style, you'll see that the border goes around the padding but not the margin. Okay, so these are really important things to understand as you start like spacing out your paragraphs and things like that. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this notation. So I said padding 100 pixels. If I give padding one number, okay, a number with a unit like pixels, it's going to apply that to all sides. I can also use shorthand to control the padding on different sides. So if I say 100 pixels, 10 pixels, 30 pixels, 80 pixels, okay? This is top, right, bottom, left. So just remember it's like a clock. We start at the top and then we go clockwise. Top, right, bottom, left, okay? Other shorthand that you can use is if I give it two numbers, 100 pixels, 20 pixels, this is top and bottom, right and left, okay? So those are just shorthand. You can use them, you can not use them. I can also say padding top is 100 pixels and set them each separately that way. It's all up to you, whatever is easy to you. I'm not going to require you to use the shorthand if you don't want to. Margin works exactly the same way. I can give it four numbers and that gives me top, right, bottom, left. I can give it two numbers and that gives me top and bottom, right and left. Or I can set it margin top, margin right, margin bottom, margin left. Okay, so that's the box model. It's really important that you understand it, but also that's all there is to it. Padding, margin, padding gets background color and border, margin is the space around it.